what happened in Colorado.
Excuse me?
Arapahoe County, Colorado.
What?
A little matter of a warrant for your arrest.
What? Never! I never touched her. I tell you, I've never been to Colorado.
Land of the orange sky.
What about it?
Legend. Helped that school teacher lady in Colorado and land of the orange sky.
That was fiction, Antonio.
Well, the warrant is most certainly nonfiction. This is from Reuters. Now, needless to say, Mr. Allen did not appreciate seeing your name or his in this context. The Arapahoe County Sheriff has issued a warrant for the arrest of legendary dime novel hero Nicodemus Legend on charges including theft of water rights, malicious mischief, and disturbing livestock.
What? I am not, nor will I ever be a man who disturbs livestock.
Legend, known as the Knight of the Prairie, has been the hero of a series of novels published by the E.C. Allen Company of Augusta, Maine. Now, needless to say, Mr. Allen would like to know what's going on here.
Oh, Harry, tell him it's a misunderstanding or a joke. You know, this is the sort of thing Ned Buttline would pull. Yes, that's it. Blame it on Buttline.
As we discussed, the receipts of your last book were disappointing. Now, so far, there is not even a hint of a new book, and now this potential scandal. Now, Mr. Allen has been saying maybe Legend's time has passed. Maybe he needs to look for a newer, younger writer.
He said
that.
Damn.
Did you get it all? No?
Harry, I find this quite demeaning.
There are still a few of your female readers left who would like a piece of you, Mr. Pratt. We're dropping the price in the next catalog to 50 cents a lock.
You're a scavenger, Parver. It's Legend's hair they want. Not mine. What's this?
Mr. Allen wants you to wear this in the next cover photograph.
Why on earth?
Well, we've acquired 5,000 coonskin caps. They're going into the catalog next month. We think young boys will love them.
You tell Mr. Allen that no self-respecting young boy would be caught dead in a coonskin hat. How'd this nag get here? You know how horses feel about me. What? Oh, sorry.
常常好多你留意我呵細命，你呢叫做起啦，佢實我講佢實啊哦。
Yes, I am taller in real life. Harry.
My father says he's looking forward to your performance.
Performance, eh?
Yes, when you put on your legend wings and glide down from the roof to mount the horse.
呢個好係。
真係好嘢。
Harry.
Oh, no, Mr. Fat. We did not plan on doing this today. You see, we did not bring the legend wings.
爸爸話佢唔記得拎個 legend wings 喎，今日唔做啊，佢唔記得㗎。
Yes, The legend wings do not work well in urban populated areas.
唔做，
佢唔做。
講個衰唔做。
Good one, Harry.
做乜？個鬼憎閪佢嘅，即係佢做鬼。
我知道嘅，食白龜。
唔係噶嘛。
And so, Mr. Fat, shall we retire to the other room to be private, sir? Why don't you come with me, Mr. Fat? Sir, come with me, sir. Let's go. No. He loves the hat.
Legend. I got the biggest nugget out of that ever.
Can people be so naive?
Right down inside.
I am not Nicodemus Legend. I am Ernest Pratt.
Nicodemus Legend?
The one and only?
My name is Catherine Sullivan. I'm terribly sorry to intrude on your busy schedule this way.
Not at all. Your smile enhances my day. Would you like me to sign a book, or would you rather have some hair?
I beg your pardon? Oh, I'm not one of your readers, really.
Well, how interesting. Please, sit down, Miss Sullivan. It is Miss Sullivan, I hope?
Mrs., actually. But I divorced my husband 2 years ago. Then he died.
Well, winning the West was never easy.
Mr. Legend, we desperately need you back in Colorado.
Colorado. It's funny, you don't look like a bounty hunter.
I'm not a bounty hunter. I'm an attorney. The farmers you helped hired me to represent them. In the water dispute?
Miss Sullivan, counselor. I'm sure your water dispute is of the utmost importance, but I know nothing about it. I've never been to Colorado. A mistake has been made.
The farmers saw you. You spoke to them.
It's not true.
Mr. Legend, you rerouted the course of the Platte River onto their land.
Oh! Changed the course of a river, did I?
That's right.
And how did I do that?
I don't know. I'm not Nicodemus Legend.
What a coincidence. Neither am I. Madam, I assure you, I am merely Ernest Pratt. Ink-stained wretch of a man, sometimes successful author, and free for the evening, incidentally.
It worked, didn't it? The warrant has scared you off. You're just gonna pretend that nothing ever happened. You're just gonna let those poor farmers lose their land?
Oh, I wish I had the slightest idea what you were talking about. Yeah, but I am willing to listen.
I think I've made a mistake.
No, not at all. Please, you've made a long trip. Allow me to offer the hospitality of the city. I can show you the sights of San Francisco tourists rarely see. My hotel room, for example.
I assume this has something to do with filling that inside straight last night?
If you know what's good for you, Legend, you won't ever come back to Colorado.
My friend, I swear I've never been to Colorado.
What about Land of the Orange Sky?
Always a pleasure to meet a fan.
Now, those blasphemers come in on that overload shipment.
Wish that lunatic had stopped that.
They say he's trying to make it rain.
Yeah, Miss Peacock said none of her yard hens are laying since that racket started.
Now, watch your step there, ma'am. Hello.
It's been a pleasure sharing the miles with you, Miss Freeman. I look forward to helping you establish your trade here in the wilds of Colorado.
I bet you are.
You better go tell your ma he's back.
There you go. Thank you. Yep.
Sure that's him?
Oh, yeah, that's him.
Easy with it, Skeeter.
Happens all the time here.
They excavating around here?
No, that's just Professor Bartok out of his laboratory. Shooting lightning bolts up in the sky.
Lightning bolts, is it?
Yeah, he's some famous European inventor. Well, at least he says he's famous. Folks around here think he's doing the devil's work.
How's that?
Well, some of the cows stopped giving milk when he put up his rain tower. But Garda sisters out on Boulder Pike said the electricity in the air caused them to grow mustaches. But if you ask me, their mother had a pretty good nose brush, so I figured the electricity had nothing to do with it. And then there's my hair.
I like it. What was the name, son?
Skeeter.
Skeeter, can you direct me to the sheriff?
Well, you see that building there? Big sign says sheriff.
Yeah.
That'd be the general
Be in that
area.
general area, would
Yeah.
it? Thank you.
He's taller than I thought.
Oh, he's shorter. There he is.
Sheriff? I have that honor, sir.
My name is Pratt. Ernest Pratt. I'm a writer from San Francisco.
That's right.
Can I have your autograph, Mr. Legend?
My name isn't Nicodemus Legend, son. Legend is a character in the book. I made him up.
Is that your picture?
Well, yes, that is my picture. That's a device of the genre. Ned Buntline does it too.
Device of the genre?
Yes, sir. Now, I've taken the opportunity of collecting affidavits. Right.
Thank you, Mr. Legend.
Very welcome. Now, these are signed and notarized statements concerning my whereabouts at the time in question, the time you think I was here.
The Alhambra Saloon, the Oriental Eating House and Wine Room, North Beach Casino. These are all saloons.
Your point being...
These folks who saw you here were all sober.
Sheriff, I swear to you, this is the first time I've ever been in Colorado.
Land of the orange sky!
It's just a book! Look, here, Sheriff. Here is my card. Ernest Pratt. My birth certificate. Ernest Pratt again. A picture of me with my mother, signed Mother Pratt. That's me on her lap. I'm Ernest Pratt. Someone who's obviously using the name and reputation of my fictional character, Nicodemus Legend, for who knows what reason.
Well, I appreciate your taking the trouble to come in here like this, Mr. Legend.
No problem, Sheriff.
You're under arrest. What? I don't want any trouble out of you. And I don't think you want to add to your troubles by resisting arrest now, do you?
Chinatown Flush.
Chinatown Flush? What the hell's a Chinatown Flush?
Any three clubs with a 7.
right, Smokey, let's go.
Hey, what's for supper tonight, Sam?
Liver and onions.
Sheriff! Did you happen to get through to San Francisco?
Oh, telegraph lines are down between here and Denver. Indians or something. You got a visitor.
Mr. Legend.
Hello.
It is a pleasure to meet you at last.
May it be the first of many pleasures we share.
My name is Vera Slaughter. I have a ranch just outside of town. But you know that, don't you? You've already been there the night you changed the course of the river. Now, that is my river, and I would like it back.
I don't blame you.
Well, it's very simple. You just move the river back where it belongs, and I will drop the charges, and you can be on your way home.
As much as I'd like to oblige, I don't think I can move the river back since I didn't move it in the first place.
Please, don't take me for a fool, Mr. Legend. 24 people saw you there that night.
So I keep hearing. Did you see me?
No, of course not, but I know you were there with those local dirt farmers at Rockland Pass. You encouraged them to violate my property rights. Please, don't insult me by denying it.
I have no wish to insult you, Mrs. Slaughter, but I couldn't find Rockland Pass if you gave me a map, and that was the only thing on it. No, please don't. Please, can't we discuss this over a bird and bottle? Obviously, we're just dealing with a minor misunderstanding.
Have you ever written a novel about life in prison, Mr. Legend?
Pratt. Actually, the name is Pratt.
Miss Sullivan.
Mrs. Slaughter. My clients have arranged bail for Mr. Legend.
Don't leave the county, Legend.
It's Pratt. Thank you for this, counselor. How can I ever demonstrate the depth of my gratitude?
Don't thank me. Thank them. They said they couldn't forgive themselves if they let you stay in jail. So they pooled the little savings that they had and got you out.
God bless you. Thank you for coming back.
Please. Madam, you're soiling your dress. Come on,
Elizabeth, you're embarrassing Mr. Legend. We just came to show our appreciation for what you have done for us, sir. You've given us hope and the reason to fight on.
Well, I wish you all good luck in your struggle.
It's gotten a lot worse since you left, Mr. Legend.
Is Mrs. Slaughter? She's trying to force us off our land. She's poisoned our cattle. She's burned Laszlo and Greta's barn. We know it is her, but we have no way to prove it. That is why we send for you.
Well, it sounds like a matter for law enforcement officials to me.
The law around here is Sheriff Moats, and he's in Vera's pocket.
Cozy?
Till you came, there was no one to defend us.
Now, wait a minute. Were any of you there at the Rockland Pass the night I spoke to you?
Ja, we were all there.
Mm-hmm. And you're sure it was me?
Oh, yes.
Of course.
Mr. Legend claims he doesn't remember being there.
Nicodemus Legend never lies. Maybe you're still hurt. You took a bad fall in Legend and Cherokee Joe.
You've read Legend and Cherokee Joe?
I've read them all.
Really?
And I've seen your face on all the books my Victoria has read. I'd never forget that face.
Well, you know, I do still have some spells from that fall. Maybe if you showed me this Rockland Pass, where it all happened, it might jog my memory.
10 years ago, all this land through here was opened up to homesteaders, many of them Hungarians, like the Brolls. Hard workers, all of them. Anyway, everything was fine until about 6 months ago when Vera started to deny them their water rights. The river used to flow through here, Vera Slaughter's land. Now it turns and goes about a mile over that way, onto the homesteaders' land.
That night when you made the river move by itself, no one has ever seen anything like it.
You want to remind me again what that was like?
Oh, there was a big noise, like thunder, only it came beneath our feet. Its ground shook, and the river moved.
Well, that's what we call an earthquake.
No one knew what was happening. Some even thought it was end of world.
And then we saw you there, on your great black horse.
Oh, riding a horse was I.
You appeared in a cloud of smoke and told us not to give up, that you would return.
And now you have.
Cloud of smoke, huh?
That professor who does the devil's work?
I'd hardly call it that. Professor Bartok has been a good friend and neighbor to the farmers.
Bartok. If I'm not mistaken, that's a Hungarian name.
Evening. My name is...
I know who you are. Please. Follow me.
Mr. Legend, we were expecting you.
Janos Christoph Bartok, late of the University of Budapest and the Western Union Laboratories in New York. I style myself as the foremost enthusiast of the works of Nicodemus Legend. I see that you've met my trusted associate and colleague, Vitzli Lopochli Ramos. He's descended from Aztec kings, but he has a summa cum laude in physics from Harvard College. I advise you to call him Ramos for obvious reasons. Would you care to join me for an early breakfast? I'm still on an Eastern clock.
I think we need to have a very serious conversation.
Well, of course, but we can converse over shirred eggs and ham. Coffee?
It's amazing.
Oh, mere bagatelle. Someday electricity will drive everything from bread slicers to flying machines.
Professor, please.
Forgive me, sometimes I get carried away.
Carried away, yes. I'd say changing the course of a river is getting a little carried away.
I knew that once you were in on the case, so to speak, your expertise in scientific investigation would allow you to deduce what happened. Was it the magnetite spindles at the pass?
The spindles did pique my interest a bit.
God. Scrambled? Sauté? Poached? Boiled?
Just coffee, toast, and the truth, if you don't mind.
The truth? The truth is, my fellow countrymen needed a hero to help them in their time of trouble. What do you know about sounds?
Just that you seem to make a lot of them.
Sound waves at the proper frequency and intensity can be quite powerful. Focused and amplified at the proper place, and they can, for example, change the surface crust of the earth. A river, say, flowing in a certain direction would have to flow in the opposite direction to conform to a new landscape.
Are you telling me you changed the course of a river with sound waves?
Except for a minor landslide, it worked perfectly.
Uh-huh. And why drag Nicodemus Legend into this?
Because I want to be left alone to continue my very important work. So I decided to give all the credit for my miracles to the imaginary miracle worker. That knight of the Rockies, the paladin of the prairies, the defender of the weak, Nicodemus Legend. In short, he was tailor-made for the role.
And just how did he make a public appearance at the pass?
Allow me to demonstrate. Ramos. Ramos. Smoke. Observe. I put it in here, and you see it there.
My name is Nicodemus Legend. You must never give up the good fight. If you need me, I will always be there for you. Farewell.
They say that Edison is working on one of these to make the pictures move. Another toy. That's all Edison is good for, plotting troll. More coffee? Hey!
Do you understand what you've done?
Of course I understand what I've done. Unfortunately, I'm frequently the only one who does.
Yeah, well, I'd like to be left alone too, you know. But all of a sudden I seem to be the object of your good sheriff's attention.
And your worst enemy is the most powerful landowner in the territory, the beautiful Vera Slaughter.
Exactly.
Sounds like a vintage Legend adventure to me. Think of the great book you'll get out of it. Personally, I thought your last book lacked some of the creative fire of your earlier works. And some might wonder if you didn't borrow the underwater helmet from Jules Verne.
That was an homage.
If you say so.
All right, Professor, here's what we're going to do. You're going to town with me. And you're going to explain to our good sheriff just exactly what happened to that river.
Had I known that I was going to upset you so much, I would have acquiesced much sooner. I have no qualms about telling the truth to the sheriff, but I think that you will come to regret it in the end. Because, you see, I'm clairvoyant.
I'll regret it in San Francisco while sipping sweet bourbon while I read about your case in the Police Gazette.
You drink? Nicodemus Legend doesn't drink. You recognize it?
Blood on the Texas sand?
Chase through the booby-trapped Arroyos. Ramos, fire it up. It's an intriguing idea to apply steam power to an untracked land vehicle. I call it the Bartok steam-powered town and country quadro-velocipede.
Oh, I called it a Land Rover.
Ah, well, whatever. You'll see that I have recreated many of your technological feats for my own amusement. Put it on. I predict that someday there will be facilities along every road dispensing water to power vehicles like this. Ramos, engage. Perhaps little necessities like maps, tobacco, and beer.
Sheriff.
We was just talking about you.
Huh?
Mr. Pratt, my name is Titus Berman, Denver correspondent for the New York Tribune.
Excellent. I'm glad you're here. Maybe you can help me clear all this up. This is Professor Janos Bartok, and he's the...
Janos Bartok, the same Janos Bartok who was accused of patent infringement by Tom Edison back east last year?
Those charges were thrown out. If you care to discuss the particulars, I'd be happy to speak with you.
Not this trip, Professor. My assignment right now is Mr. Nicodemus Legend. My readers are quite interested in the sudden heroics of a person that many of us thought was merely fictional.
Heroic hell! He broke the law!
That may be, Sheriff, but you have to understand the public's whims. Imagine the reaction when they learn a 10-cent hero is thrown in with a bunch of immigrant farmers fighting for the American dream. It's captured everyone's imagination.
It has?
Of course, there are others who wonder if Mr. Pratt is merely a self-aggrandizing fraud whose presence here is prompted by the flagging sales of his last novel.
Careful.
Just what is the truth, Mr. Pratt?
The truth
is that he's really helping the farmers.
Are you saying you changed the course of that river?
That's exactly what he's saying.
I am?
I haven't heard him say it yet.
I changed the course of the river.
Sir, that's a confession of guilt.
Sheriff, do you honestly believe that Mr. Legend would have proceeded without fully researching the law? These charges against him are nothing but a nuisance. Any honest judge would quickly dismiss them.
Well, then we got nothing to worry about.
Bira's boy didn't get enough oxygen when he was born.
Wonderful.
Mr. Legend, I think you would better vacate the premises.
Excellent idea.
Well. Is this what they're wearing in San Francisco these days? Looks real pretty. Like a girl's scannies. And you know what? He even smells like a girl, too.
You know, you're not the first one to tell me something like that.
I'm not, huh?
No, not at all. Now, there was this young fellow one time, nothing like yourself, mind you. And he didn't like the way I dressed either, and I had to ask him why he cared so much about my clothes. And he kind of fumbled around for an answer until it became apparent that, well, he knew nothing about clothes except what he had on. And what he had on was, well, you know, that pseudo-Western mail order kind of stuff that rich folks order from the fancy stores back east. Nothing like what you're wearing, mind you. Anyway, I admitted to him that I do care about fashion. I believe a man's clothes and the scent of his cologne can tell you a lot about him. As a matter of fact, I was able to take a look at this young fella and venture a guess that, well, his mother picked out most of his clothes, because I'd seen the woman, and she ordered her outfits from the same kind of fancy Eastern store. It turned out I was right. And you know what? The next time I saw that young man, he had on some clothes he'd picked out for himself. Looked like his own man. Well, nothing pleases me more than to talk fashion with a smart young man like yourself. Let's do it again sometime. What say?
Legend!
What the heck is that?
The Bartok Bipolar High Intensity Electrofulminator. Perhaps a little underpowered.
Everyone here owes a great debt to Mr. Nicodemus Legend, with no way to, repay it. All we can offer is the bounty of our land, the fruits of our labor, and the love in our hearts. To Legend! Everybody, dance!
Shall we?
Thank you. Worth fighting for, don't you think?
Sure wish I knew how to help these folks.
You already have.
No, ma'am. All I've done is show up to save my reputation and protect the golden goose that finances my poor excuse for a life. That's it. Sometimes I wish I were a legend, but I'm not. Nowhere near.
Well, then I guess you're pretty much like the rest of us.
What happened? These are warning shots. Oh, good, they're leaving.
They'll be back. Come on.
Stay down!
Where in the world did you get that suit?
In town?
In town? The suits in town are for sheep herders and immigrants. If you needed a new suit, you should have told me.
Well, I like it.
Well, it makes you look like a field hand dressed up for a court date. It's taken my appetite away just to look at it. Unusual weather we've been having.
Seems normal.
Well, from what I heard, you were apparently struck by lightning in the middle of the Buffalo Head Saloon.
Fellow Legend's no big deal. I'll take care of him, Mother.
Oh, I do wish your father were here at times like these. I wonder what he'd have to say to you sitting there in that cowhand suit, having permitted Mr. Legend to humiliate you and this entire family. Really, Silas? You are not half the man that he was. Silas, come here. Come here. Come on. Come on. Oh, everything's gonna be all right. This business just has Mama so upset. You know the pressure she's been under. Oh, we don't have time to be together anymore, do we? Well, don't you worry about a thing. Mama will take care of this just like she takes care of everything. And no matter what, I love you. You know that, don't you? Everything I do is for you, Silas. Don't ever forget that. Now then, let's think what we're gonna do about Mr. Legend, who refuses to take a hint. Perhaps this calls for some out-of-town talent.
I just don't think it'll be as difficult as you do.
I just can't assume the identity of Nicodemus Legend.
Why not?
Because we're nothing alike. He leaps wide canyons, runs like a deer, swims like a spawning salmon. Except for the spawning part, I can't do any of that.
Well, we'll compensate with science. Ramos! Here, put this on. It's the Bartok Tight Focus Electromagnetic Disarmer. There'll be times when Legend will have to ward off a heavily armed uncouth among us, and this will do it. Go on. It won't bite.
You can't expect to stop Vera Slaughter with more tricks.
These are not tricks, sir. These are inventions. I live with a firm conviction that one man can make a difference in this life. Even as we speak, there's a man back east by the name of Alexander Graham Bell, who is perfecting a device which I predict will cause no end of trouble.
And you think these inventions are going to put an end to a land war, is that it?
I think Nicodemus Legend will put an end to it. Your celebrity has the power to give our enemies pause. My science can enhance that reputation, and together we can create the real Legend.
And just what might that entail?
Oh, a little wind, a little weight training. How's your stamina?
Depends.
I shouldn't have asked. Here, take this. All right. Lift it up. Aim. Ramos, draw. push the button. Excellent! Excellent! A bit overpowered, but with a little adjustment, we'll get a patent on this baby.
Mr. Coe, Silas Slaughter. I cabled you about.
Where is it?
Who? A legend, I don't know. Is probably out of the laboratory on the outskirts of town. I have your money for you right here.
Put that away.
What?
We're in the middle of the town square. I just see not be seen with you, let alone your money.
Yes, sir. I just didn't understand.
Well, now you do. When the job's done, you'll pay.
You must be a trusting individual, Mr. Coe.
Son, what in the hell is wrong with your hair?
Doc says I'm allergic to electricity.
You know where I can find a man by the name of Nicodemus Legend?
Yes, sir.
You tell him death has come to town.
Is there a first name, or...?
I'll be waiting for him in the saloon.
Tilt it up. Tilt it up. The design is perfect. You're simply not compensating for the vintage.
Mr. Legend! Mr. Legend! Mr. Legend!
Hey, Skeeter.
John Wesley Coe, the famous gunfighter. He's in town waiting for you at the saloon. He's come up from Texas to kill you dead.
Well, I'll be sure to stay the heck out of there.
You tell Mr. Coe that Mr. Legend will be in to see him by and by.
Will not?
And that he looks forward to meeting him.
Mr. Coe, give me a gold eagle for my trouble.
Invest it well. We had no choice.
We had no choice?
We'll protect you with the electromagnetic...
Excuse me, but no whatever is gonna stop hard and handsome Johnny Coe, the Sabine shootist, the fastest gun this side of the Pecos, the man who shot Vinegar Joe Poteet.
He has his reputation, you have yours. It's even.
What do you mean even? His is real. Mine is the product of a drunken fantasy.
Yes, but he doesn't know that. Don't you see? You can use your celebrity to intimidate him.
Janos, you do not intimidate someone who was voted Man of the Year by the Texas Undertaker Society.
You can't walk away from this.
Oh, I think we should keep all options open for the moment.
Think of the bad publicity if you walk away.
An obituary is my idea of bad publicity.
If you don't show up in town, Hard and Handsome Johnny might turn his attention to the farmers.
Don't do that.
Don't worry. We'll be right behind you.
So logistically speaking, I'll be between you and the bullet, right?
Exactly.
How nice.
private meeting.
You hard and handsome?
Some say so. I'm here to speak for a local party that has an interest in your activities.
And why doesn't that party speak for him or herself?
A louder voice was wanted.
Well, and by all means, bellow away.
This party would take it most kindly if you were to leave town.
Or what?
Unpleasantness will ensue.
Well, I came here to help some folks. I can't leave till my job is done.
You're gonna leave, whether you go out standing or with your toes pointing up in the air. Makes no difference to me.
And I have taken the liberty of making a reservation for you on the next coach out of town.
Good, I appreciate that. My job should be done by then. Now, you want to set some rules?
Well, I didn't think rules meant much to the Sabine shootist.
I don't get any pleasure out of it if it ain't done in a proper and fair manner. It's the competition, not the killing, you understand. Now, the guest shootist usually has the sun advantage.
Whatever is customary here in Colorado.
I'd just soon face off at 40 paces instead of 50. I've left my spectacles in the conveyance.
Say, you didn't happen to read my book, Legend and the Ghost of Chiricahua Caves, did you?
In my line of work, a man who reads is a man who's not keeping his eye on the door.
So, you've never actually read a legend book, is that it?
Nope.
It's too bad. I think you'd enjoy it.
I'll have to pick one up to read on the way home. Now, I think you should have a choice of weapons. Preferably, I prefer the...
You know, I gotta tell you this. It's an absolute pleasure dealing with a sportsman. The Apache, for example, they don't play by the rules.
I wouldn't know that.
Legend and the massacre at Mesquite Flat.
Uh-huh.
It was quite an occasion. I surprised, disarmed, and disabled 5 heavily armed Apache. Between you and me, it was actually 15, and one of them had dynamite. My publisher made me cut it down to 5 because it kind of sounded like I was bragging a little, you know.
15?
Oh, yeah! But surely you've buffaloed as many, if not more, in your day?
Well, there's that time in Amarillo when I gunned down the whole Hogan family. 8 altogether, including a second cousin, is in town for a family reunion.
Beautiful. I'm sure your publisher was happy with that, huh?
I don't have no publisher.
You don't have no publisher? A man with the stories that you have to tell? Why, I heard you got 30 notches on your revolver's bone handle.
28, actually. There's a couple of fellas in Oklahoma that pulled through. I had to scratch him off.
28 notches is 28 novels. Do you have any idea how much money you can make from dime novels?
How much?
A whole lot of dimes. You'd get thousands up front, but the most important part of the deal is your back end. Gotta look out for your back end.
I always do.
I'm talking about your copyrights, your foreign and ancillary rights, merchandising the co-name, escalating royalties, the... Let me ask you a hypothetical question. How much would someone like you be paid to kill someone like, oh, say, me?
Hypothetical, hell. I get 500 to rub you out.
500? That's it? I'm embarrassed. John, I can get you 2,000 for an advance on the story of the Hogan family alone.
2,000?
I'll wire my publisher right now.
I have foolishly not put much aside for my declining years.
It's understandable. Probably didn't think you'd have any. Professor, I'd like you to meet a very good friend of mine. John, this is Janos. Janos, John.
I quit.
Here you go, son. Pay for the drinks, will you? Keep the change. Nice outfit.
It is my privilege to introduce Governor Dennehy.
Good people of Arapahoe County, it is with great pleasure that I welcome you here to this great jubilee. This county has always had special associations with me, for it was here that I met and wooed the lovely Lulabelle Hester, who shortly after consented to become my bride. As you know, on August 1st of this year, the territory of Colorado will become a state. The 38th star in the flag of...
Look! Up in the sky!
Please, listen, your attention should be up here. I am making a speech. Please, wait, I'm coming to the best part. I'm back!
Steady there, boys. Keep it right. Yes.
Hang on.
Let it down! Whoa! Come on, boys, you're ruining my entrance! Forget it! Thank you very much. Thank you.
I admire a man who knows how to make an entrance, Mr. Legend. But your timing could have been better.
Smile for the camera, Gov. Could come in useful in your upcoming campaign.
Well, in that case, won't you join us for the rest of the festivities, please?
Thank you.
And if I may borrow a page from our distinguished guest, the
Mr.
adventurer
Legend,
and novelist,
I believe I may have underestimated you.
Well, that's nice. I'm used to being overestimated.
As a gesture of goodwill, I'll get Sheriff Moats to drop all the charges against you.
One of my favorite gestures.
Would you care to join me for dinner at my home this evening? 8 o'clock?
Make it 7:45.
And we're in a deep and serious conversation regarding primates. And so Clemens says, I think God created man because he was disappointed in the monkey.
Some cognac, Mr. Legend. Now, this was old, when Napoleon was a boy.
No, thank you. Some more lemonade would be nice.
Cigar? Hey, Chapman. Cuban?
No, thank you.
Don't you ever relax your famous code of conduct even for a second. I promise no one will ever know.
Well, I'd know, wouldn't I, Mrs. Slaughter?
Mr. Legend, Nicodemus, might I be so bold as to say that I find you to be an exciting presence here.
Well, seeing as how you wanted to put me in prison the first time we met, I find that gratifying.
I think what I have to offer could be very, very gratifying to both of us.
Both of us?
Well, yes. I know that you have an affection for those courageous homesteaders, as do I. I have, in fact, offered them fine profit for their land, as well as good-paying jobs in the factories of Slaughter Amalgamated.
So might I assume that you intend to use this land for some new business ventures?
Why, Nicodemus, am I mistaken, or are you trying to probe me?
The evening is young.
Oh, I don't seem to be able to hide anything from you. Yes, I do plan to build on that land. Investors are wanting to build factories west. I want some of them to come to Arapahoe County with all those jobs and all that eastern money. Statehood is coming. A new state is gonna need leadership. Gonna need men who can inspire the people to rise to this great occasion.
My late husband was such a man. He might have been governor had he lived, but since he died in my arms,
I found no one to replace him. I mean, not just in my heart, but in the heart of Colorado. That is until now. This state needs Nicodemus Legend.
You want me to be governor?
Governor, senator, who knows where greatness can lead? What I'm offering you is a share of my vision for this state. A share of everything I have to offer.
Oh, Vera, darling. That's just one card too deep in the deck for me.
What are you talking about?
Well, offering that big a piece of the pie tells me you're worried. Really worried. Now, if I were a poker playing man, which of course I'm not, just as I don't drink fine cognac, nor do I smoke fine Cuban cigars. However, if this were a poker game, I'd have to call your bluff. Right now, I figure you're holding a pair of twos. It's a crying shame. Vera, it's been fun. For a dying friend.
Factories? What kind of factories? She didn't say. Yes, but why the farmland? Why not east or west or south of the town?
She didn't say that either.
I don't think she's telling you the truth.
Well, she's sure not telling me the whole truth.
No one would build factories unless there was a railroad nearby.
If there really was a railroad tie coming through the county, whoever owned the right-of-way would stand to make a fortune.
So she needs that land.
And if the trucks are coming south from Denver, there's only one pass through the mountains, which is right here. But it's not illegal to build a railroad.
No, but there's something wrong with it. Old Vera was willing to give me half the state of Colorado to stop looking into it.
Ah, Professor. Have a seat.
What are you doing?
I am waiting for the coach to take me away from your delightful confines.
The stage does not leave until noon tomorrow.
Well, then we'll have plenty of time to sit upon the ground and tell sad tales of the death of kings. How is Brill?
It'll be fine. Doctor says that it'll take some time.
Well, I can't say it hasn't been interesting from a purely dramatic point of view. But it's time to bring down the curtain. Oh. Who am I? Ernest Pratt, novelist, ne'er-do-well, tenderloin man about town, creator of tales that are not real. Who am I to buck reality? Reality hurts. Reality kills. And when you're dead, the reality is, it's over.
That stage out of town tomorrow. It won't take you away from reality. Believe me, I know. I came here to get away from my own reality back east.
Yeah. What happened to you back there?
My first job was with Western Union. Thomas Edison was my colleague. He was diligent, hardworking, dull, and easy to underestimate. I knew so much more than he did. I was so far ahead of him. My discoveries were far superior to his own. So, in the good old-fashioned American competitive spirit, he did the only thing that he could do. He assassinated my character. He accused me of stealing his ideas.
And you let him get away with this?
By the time the charges were thrown out, he had the backing of the rich and famous. He was the darling of the press, and I was the butt of high society jokes.
That sent you packing, huh?
I had hopes, Mr. Pratt. I had hopes that in this new land, in this burgeoning new territory. But you see, Mr. Pratt, here there is Vera Slaughter. And here, they don't stop at the assassination of character. So you see, there's just no getting away from reality. Although I can't blame you for trying.
Professor, legend isn't real, am I right?
That's what you seem to want to convince yourself?
Well, if he's not real, then he can't be killed, unless I do it. Therefore, I must consider myself invulnerable. Come! I'll let you buy me a cup of coffee to celebrate the return of Nicodemus Legend.
There's no time for that. We're going to Denver.
Denver?
Yes, to the headquarters of Slaughter Amalgamated. But wait!
I've engaged the orchestra for the entire evening.
Oh, bring them along. Now, I have created the Bartok high-frequency communication telegraphic device. It will be able to communicate with the farmers.
There we go. All right.
John. Influence, Professor, influence. But some would spend their whole lives trying to earn, Vera simply buys. Wholesale, I might add. Ah, here we go. One governor, signed, sealed, and delivered. He guarantees the Transportation Commission will approve her railroad proposal. In return, he gets 20% of Vera's corporation. Phew. They stand to make an awful lot of money building on the land along that rail.
Yes, but that's illegal.
It's unethical. It's immoral. It's how we built this great nation. But it's not illegal.
Not until Colorado becomes a state.
That's right.
And if Vera doesn't get the land from the farmers before the law goes into effect, then she's out of luck.
Right again, my friend. I wonder if our good friend from the New York Tribune would like an exclusive on the governor's land grab. What do you think?
I think that's a good idea.
Why don't you try a little lemon in your tea instead of that cheap bourbon?
It's not cheap bourbon, Mother. It's your bourbon. You've taught me well.
Thank you. Due to a potential conflict of interest, I regret that I must separate myself. Best of luck, Governor Denny.
What is it?
We've lost the governor.
Without his help, we're dead.
Not necessarily. I had a very good meeting with 2 members of the Transportation Committee in Denver last weekend. They are ready to vote our way.
Oh, what did you have to give them?
Those immigrants have to turn that land over to us before the commission meets next week. Gentlemen, bad news. The governor is unable to join us today, but he sends his best regards and warm support for our plans. Oh, Mr. Montgomery, won't you please tell me more about that die-cut process?
Come on.
Riders sweeping across valley, burning everything, making stand at Broll Farm. Send help, please hurry.
This is the perfect situation for the Bartok tight focus disarmer.
That thing doesn't work.
Well, you have to get the gun away, and I've made progress. It's almost ready.
Almost.
Remember, when you get within 50 feet, flip the switch.
Yeah? And just how am I supposed to get within 50 feet? No, this is wrong. Very wrong.
Legend is the eternal optimist.
No, you don't understand. I wrote this scene. I get shot. I die.
I can assure you it's far more likely that you will crash and break your neck before he even gets a chance to shoot you.
Thank you.
The Legend wings work perfectly. They are precisely balanced to your weight. Go!
It's okay now, little lady. You're safe.
Thank you, Mr. Legend.
You're very welcome. Get one thing straight. Nobody comes in and rewrites me. That's part of the deal.
Johnny, it's nothing personal. Polishing is part of the business.
Anybody that polishes me, I'm gonna kill him. And you.
Well, there's a lot to be said for a singular creative vision as well.
The marshal from Denver has arrested Silas and is taking him to jail.
Good. And Mrs. Slaughter?
Well, it seems her eastern businessmen have all pulled out, and so her little land deal is history. And I've heard that she's hired some big-shot attorney from Boston to represent Silas by the name of Oliver Wendell Holmes.
Oh, lawyers that go by 3 names are nothing but trouble.
Pardon me. Your imagination is what I'm hoping, and the sweep and the passion of the...
Did you tell him the part about the woman lawyer?
Well, not yet, darling.
It's so exciting. I think John could be a major talent, don't you?
Thank you, Mr. Legend. Very kind of you. Good man.
You should be walking into that, shouldn't you? I mean, isn't that the way the stories always end?
Oh, the sunset. Yep. It's a device of the genre. They have to end that way.
Well, they don't all have to end that way. A fellow could find a few good reasons to settle down here. I know I did. Not this fella. Quiet place to ride. Do a little research from time to time.
Nope. I don't think so.
You know, I was telling an idea to Mr. Parver, and he said that E.C. Allen would love it.
Love what?
Keeping Nicodemus Legend alive.
No.
He said you'd say that.
My publisher does not have the right to tell me how to live.
Yes, well, he said you'd say that too, but that you would change your mind when they threatened to drop you. Do you honestly think that you can go back to the life of Ernest Pratt so easily?
Yes, I do.
You know, you're not the same man who came to Sheridan. Whether you care to believe it or not, a part of you is legend, and you'll never be able to walk away from that again. I know I never will, because you see, Ernest, a part of me is legend now, too. Don't you see the incredible possibilities for real adventure? The practical application of science and invention. I'm a good scientist. I can create what you can imagine. Doesn't that at least intrigue you? But you know, Ernest, I can't do it without you. Separately, you and I are heroes to no one. Together, we could become legendary.
He said they'd drop me?
Quite a day for us, eh, Professor? Imagine, great author and adventurer Nicodemus Legend coming to live right here in Sheridan.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, it's quite a day.
This could do for us what the Alamo did for San Antonio. Of course, they did have a massacre down there, but, well, I think that adds to the tourist value of the place, don't you?
Yes, massacres do get your attention.
Ah, the Glover Brothers. The Glover Brothers intend on opening a Legend Wax Museum. They bought that statue from a cigar store up in Denver. Best they could do on short notice. A little turpentine and you'll never even see the war paint.
Yes, it's a remarkable resemblance.
It isn't. It isn't true. It can't be. Look at him. Maybe he was in a fight. Did anyone ever tell you you look just like the man in this?
My name is Ernest Pratt. Unlike your Mr. Legend there, I was once a promising writer of books.
There's the stage! All right, like we practiced, only better. Tempo, tempo. Come on, come on. Welcome to Sheridan, folks, the new home of the great Nicodemus Legend. See our Legend memorabilia shop right on Front Street. Commemorative scarves marked out. All right. Tonight only, the Oddfellows and Rebecca's living statues recreation of the battle at the Brill Farm. Admission 10 cents. How are you? Where's Mr. Legend?
He jumped out at the Buffalo Head Saloon.
No, pardon me, Mayor. I'll take care of it. I'm sure Nicodemus just stopped to freshen up. It's just disgraceful.
It's disgusting, too. You see the streets in this town? Legend stuff everywhere. You'd think P.T. Barnum was running the place.
Talking about you. These people have rolled out the red carpet expecting to see Nicodemus Legend. And look at you.
Well, the eastbound accommodations on the Union Pacific just aren't what they used to be. And again, I could have been in a cattle car, I don't recall.
I'd have to sneak you into the hotel to make you presentable.
To whom am I being presented?
There they are!
Oh, wonderful! Your grand reception in an alley behind the saloon.
Mr. Legend, are you ill? Oh, just a slight headache from the rugged trip.
Tone down the orchestra a tad.
Mr. Legend was just telling me that he is traveling incognito. He is undercover on a case.
Of course. Chamberlain Brown, Mayor Pro Tem, among other things. Mr. Legend, I would like to give you your official welcome to the town of Sheridan.
Thank you.
Welcome. We had a key made up. Unfortunately, it got lost in freight somewhere east of Cheyenne.
So did I.
Hey, is Mr. Nicodemus Legend back here?
Mr. Legend is working undercover today, okay? Incognito as well.
Name's Amos White, Mr. Legend. Owner, editor, and publisher of Sheridan Weekly Trumpet. Thought you might want to see this right away. To Mr. Nicodemus Legend, have decided to turn myself in and pay for my crimes. Will surrender only to Legend in person. Signed, J.B. Siringo.
Just who is this Siringo fella?
The most notorious bank robber in the West.
On his last job, he killed the guard in cold blood.
No, thank you. No.
Took $250,000 from the Midland Merchants Bank in Tucson.
Well, you wire him back and say, shame on you. And I'm not available.
But we can't do that, Mr. Legend. Nobody knows where Jim's hid out.
Our talk.
If it's not too much trouble, could you work in a massacre this time?
Double-sized corner view, and the indoor privy's right next door.
Thank you, Skeeter.
Yes, sir. A pleasure, sir. If you need anything else, just throw something out the window. I'll be right up.
I'd feel more comfortable if you were at the compound, away from the temptations of Main Street.
Au contraire, my friend. A writer needs distraction once in a while.
What you need is to consider just who you are.
Who I am is Ernest Pratt. And Ernest Pratt is wise enough not to get caught in a crossfire between bank detectives and a ruthless bandit killer.
Yes, but Nicodemus Legend belongs in the crossfire. He thrives on it.
Legend thrives only in the pages of these books.
Not anymore.
I don't believe it. You're starting to sound like everybody else in this town. You know me. You know I'm not Nicodemus Legend. What's wrong with you people?
They're proud of you.
Oh, please. I suppose you believe in Santa Claus, too.
I do. Millions of people do. And every year, Santa Claus delivers.
Ah. Professor, I've been thinking all this business through. You know, my contract with E.C. Allen calls for 5 Legend books a year.
Yes, and for you to live here and to work with me.
So, I'll nose around. I'll cook up some stories. You supply the technical whiz-bangs. We'll have some laughs. I'll write some books. I'll make some money. But I am not, mind you, not going to run around pretending to be something I'm not.
You say that as if you thought you actually had a choice.
I like to think it's still my life.
No. It is theirs. You gave it to them. The minute you put pen to paper, the minute you put your picture on the cover of your books, they own your life now.
Nuh-uh. That was not part of the contract.
You'll see.
See what? What are you talking about? What does that mean?
It means you'll see.
What do you need, Mr. Legend?
It's Pratt! Jack!
Money down. Here we go.
Old Forester, my good man. A full bottle and a clean glass.
I beg your pardon?
Whiskey? That stuff is for sale, isn't it? Or is this some kind of whiskey museum?
Well, it's for sale, Mr. Legend, but I can't sell it to you.
Why not?
Everybody knows Nicodemus Legend doesn't drink.
What's your name, friend?
Lamar.
You a married man, Lamar?
Only 19 years.
All right. Then there must be something in your life that you don't want your wife to know about.
She sure does hate it when I chew my toenails.
Sounds like a woman of quality, Lamar. Don't you ever lose her. But you see, to a writer, the reader of his book is like a wife. And there are a couple of small things in my life that I don't want my wife to know about.
It would be bad for business if people saw me give you hard liquor.
Got any coffee?
I just put up a pot of tea.
Lamar. You take that cup, fill it with bourbon, I'll pay full price. We'll call it tea. No one will know the difference, and I'll be a happy man.
Gentlemen, mind if I take this seat?
Mr. Legend, we're playing for real money here.
What a coincidence. Brought some of that along. What are we playing, gents?
I'm late for dinner. Gotta go.
Everybody knows you don't gamble, Mr. Legend. Why, Preacher Cullen would condemn them to hell just for dealing you into a game for gumdrops.
Condemn them to hell?
Mr. Legend, Roscoe Barnes, Chief of Security, Midland Merchant Bank, Tucson. I'll be providing security for you at the surrender site on Saturday. Now, we need to discuss.
Hold on there, Roscoe. Surrender site. What surrender site?
Gentleman Jim Siringo's.
Oh, sorry. I believe I have a personal appearance that day at a wedding. Could be a hanging, I don't recall.
Well, you'll have to rearrange your schedule.
Oh, I wish I could, but my publisher himself, Mr. E.C. Allen, arranges my schedule. It's out of my hands.
In that case, there's no problem, because Mr. Allen has pledged your full cooperation with law enforcement efforts.
He has. Well, of course, I always cooperate. It's the participate part that could be the problem.
As I said, there's no problem. Mr. Allen said that you would be in Tucson for the surrender.
He said that, did he? Well, must be a switch in public relations strategy. You see, I generally have a policy against doing personal appearances with notorious killers. It's a small quirk of mine.
Well, I guarantee you'll be in no personal danger. I'll have 100 guns on Siringo. If he so much as blinks out of rhythm, he'll be dead.
You'll shoot him?
Repeatedly.
While I'm standing next to him?
He killed one of my guards, Mr. Legend, and I promise you he will not have the chance to hurt anybody else ever again. Now, will you be needing transportation to Tucson?
No, thank you. I'll make my own arrangements.
Nicodemus Legend.
I generally don't do private signings, sir. If you'd like to check with the souvenir shop around the corner, I'm sure they could accommodate you.
My name's Siringo. Folks around here like to call me Gentleman Jim Siringo. I didn't kill anyone, Mr. Legend. I'm a bank robber, and I'm proud to say a damn good one. Nobody needs to get hurt if you know what you're doing.
Yes. Well, I'm sure the marshal will be fascinated by your side of the story.
They say I killed a guard. You know how folks feel about a man that kills a badge? I reckon I'll never get a fair trial. That's why I'm coming to you.
Mr. Siringo. Jim. I am a writer of stories. That's all I am. The kind of help you need, I can't give.
This ain't no different than what you did for the Payson twins in Amarillo.
Double Shadows? You read that book?
I read all the Western dimes, and I'm glad to say yours are the best. Ned Buntline wouldn't know which end of a mule to feed.
Well, I'm becoming increasingly sympathetic to your cause, sir.
I don't have to tell you what the name Nicodemus Legend means around these parts. But I don't think you know what the name Gentleman Jim Siringo means to the folks around here either. See, Mr. Legend, they know I only steal from insured banks and not from the customers. They also know that I'm willing to share my good fortune with those in need. And until now, they knew I'd never hurt anybody.
Someone's trying to take away my good name.
Any idea who?
Nope. But I figure between now and Saturday, you might be able to find something out. There weren't no shots fired while I was in that bank. It wasn't until I got outside that I heard a gunfire.
There must have been witnesses.
All the witnesses say I did it. They also say that I stole $250,000. I couldn't make that much money if I robbed every bank in Arizona, Mr. Legend. There was only $10,000 in that vault. And that's the God's truth. I'm just asking you to investigate it for yourself. See, I believe in you, Legend. And I'm willing to turn myself in and save my good name. So long as I know that Nicodemus Legend is on the case. See you Saturday.
You know, I have to admit, the world looks a lot better from up here.
Well, I knew that once you had settled in and had a chance to think things through, you'd be glad to get back into action again.
Glad to be back? I've been coerced. I'm surrounded. My publisher commits my services to the bank, and Siringo, well, he did something that I find completely unforgivable.
He put his life into your hands?
Exactly. I hate that.
Keep us on the same course.
No, I've sent Legend on a lot of investigations, but never old Ernie Pratt. No, sir. I'm not sure he's up to it.
Well, he was up to it the last time. And remember, you have the power of the Bartok Research Facility behind you.
Always a comfort.
You know, Ernest, I think that this little adventure is going to be good for Legend. And besides, it might help some of the problems that we've noticed in your last few books.
What? What problems?
Ramos will explain. Ramos, my excellent scientific associate, he also has studied literature at Harvard.
Oh, well, do tell, Ramos.
I was mentioning to the professor that your later books were a bit predictable.
Yes, well, my audience has grown to expect a certain value for their dime.
Yes, but unpredictability is something that you need. Ernest, a man who does not have adventure in his heart cannot write adventure books.
Yes, well, keep in mind, if the hero dies, the adventure is over.
Oh, don't worry. We'll be right behind you.
Yet another comfort.
It's an honor to have you here in Tucson, but Mr. Legend, we weren't expecting you until Saturday.
I don't like to begin a case unless I'm completely conversant with all the particulars, Roscoe. Now, could you tell me where the unfortunate guard was located when he was shot? Rest his soul.
Right there, on his knees, getting off the floor.
Would you mind assuming the position for us?
And where was Siringo?
At the door, about to leave. Mr. Legend, I don't understand.
Bear with me, Roscoe. Bear with me. Now, could you tell me, from your perspective, what you saw?
We came out of the office, Mr. Winslow and I. Everybody was face down on the floor, but just as Siringo was about to leave with the money, young Phillips, our security man, got to his knees and went for his gun. Jim shot him dead and ran out.
Could you gentlemen stand where you were that day? Please? Fine. Now, is this approximately how Mr. Siringo was holding his gun?
Yes.
Would you hold this, please? All right, now, according to the autopsy report, the bullet entered the chest right here, just above the second rib. The deceased was 178 centimeters. You're what? You're about 180 centimeters, I think. Here, would you put this... Lift up your arm. There we go. Once you have determined the trajectory, it's really quite easy to be able to track the bullet to its final destination. So, since we know from the autopsy report that the bullet passed right through the body, the bullet should be just about here. Oh, that's... It's really quite curious. It isn't here.
What is he talking about? Tracking bullets?
The science of forensics, gentlemen. Perhaps you read how I used forensics to solve the mystery of the Feather Creek stalker. Perhaps not.
What does science have to do with the murder I saw with my own eyes?
It is possible, sir, that you did not see what you thought you were seeing. Why, there's a magician friend of mine in San Francisco who had me convinced that he was sawing in half a half-naked woman. Nearly brought my heart to a stop. For you see, that young lady was a dear friend. But of course, I was not seeing what I thought I saw. Why, as a matter of fact, the young lady and I shared a cup of tea afterwards, and she didn't spring a single leak. Huh.
I know what I saw.
Mr. Legend, I assure you, we saw Siringo shoot young Phillips. Now, is there anything else we can do to help you?
Just one more thing, Mr. Winslow. $250,000 is a lot of money for a bank this size. Why, I wouldn't imagine you could hold more than, oh, say, 10,000?
This bank is the depository for most of the business interests of this part of Arizona.
No slight intended. Gentlemen, good day.
He knows about the money. If he knew about the money, he wouldn't be asking questions like this. He'd be talking to a bank examiner.
Then what is he up to?
I don't know. But I promise you, after we kill Siringo on Saturday, nobody's gonna care. And if Nicodemus Legend wants to get in the way, he'll just have to die there too.
Yes. Here we go. Oh, gosh. We found him, Ernest. Don't you want to see?
No. I'll stay out here and stand guard. In case there's a problem with security or something.
Why would they be guarding dead people?
Because they may have read Edgar Poe as I did as a child. For years afterwards, I had to sleep with a burning candle in my room. Of course, I don't need it as much anymore.
His internal organs have been removed.
Oh, what do you need?
His liver.
We really do need you, Ernest.
What?
Would you scare up his liver, please?
And his heart.
Oh, and his heart.
Oh, and to think, just last week she could have been reading one of my books.
Oh, yes, Ernest. They all live to worship you.
The rear wound is slightly higher than the front.
Tell me, Ramos, how is it you know so much about medical examination?
He studied medicine at Harvard for a year.
Of course. Silly me. I believe I found his organs. A telltale heart. I remember it well. I had to sleep in Mother Pratt's room for a week. Nevermore.
Ah, yes. The bullet track definitely expands from the rear to the front. There's no question about it. This man was shot in the back.
Could the coroner have mistaken an entrance wound for an exit wound?
Possibly, if he weren't paying attention.
Or if he were paid not to pay attention.
Well, in either case, it just proves that Gentleman Jim could not have done it. All the witnesses place him in front of the victim.
In the back?
That's impossible.
We've got the forensic evidence to prove it.
I don't know much about your forensic science, Mr. Legend. Frankly, it could work better in a book than in a court of law. But we'll give it all a look once Jim's behind bars.
My only concern is that he make it there alive.
Here he comes.
Get ready to get us out of here.
The gun pointed at me.
You're taking me hostage.
Ah! Hold your fire! He's taking Nicodemus Legend hostage.
All right, go!
Well, we should be safe here for a while. Mrs. Yancey owns the place. She's like a mother to me.
Maybe you should have written more often, huh?
Mrs. Yancey, it's me, Jimmy Siringo!
Jimmy? Is that you? I owe everything to Gentleman Jim Siringo. Yes, sir. When my husband died, the bank foreclosed on the ranch. Gentleman Jim gave me the money to buy the deed.
I took it from the bank that held the paper. I figured Miss Yancey needed it more than they did.
Sounds like you took your inspiration from another thief in history.
Robin Hood?
Joaquin Murrieta. Do they always have to be English?
None of this gentleman Jim thing ever would have happened if it wasn't for my horse.
Your horse?
I never did set out to become Gentleman Jim Siringo. Hell, 10 years ago, I was nothing but a brawling, gambling thief. One day, I was riding like hell on a getaway from a Dodge bank. All of a sudden, I look up, and there's this lady crossing the street with her baby. I had no time to react. Next thing I know, my horse, he just pulls up for a second. By the time we get going again, lady was already across the street, safely out of harm's way.
Excuse me, I need to use one of your bullets, just for a moment.
Anyway, by the time I got to Denver, folks was already talking about it. Only the story changed a little bit. They were saying how I got down off my horse and helped the lady across the street. And then by the time I got to Santa Fe, story changed again. Only this time folks were saying how I gave all the money that I stole to the lady for the child's education. None of it was true, though. So, all because of that horse, folks took to calling me Gentleman Jim. And I found that I liked it. Because they started looking at me different. Treating me with respect. Instead of looking at me with disgust and fear like they always did. So I figure, why stay a lost soul if I can become somebody entirely new?
Somebody your audience wanted you to be.
Like I said, Mr. Legend, my name has come to mean a lot to me, just as I know your name's come to mean a lot to you.
Well, now, this is the situation. The chemical composition of the bullet that was taken out of your shoulder and the one that killed the bank guard are identical, and they do not match the bullet that was pulled out of your belt.
I don't understand. What's the difference?
These have traces of bismuth and antimony. This one, yours, is pure lead. These are government issue.
Wait a minute. Why would the bank want to kill one of its own security men?
In my book, if it were my book, it'd have something to do with that missing money, the $250,000.
Stealing that much money from a small frontier bank, it would have to take place over a period of time. Months, even.
Embezzlement.
Well, if one of the honest security agents found out about it, like young Phillips, perhaps.
They could use the robbery as an opportunity to silence him permanently while still providing an explanation for the missing funds.
Well, gentlemen, the only place to find evidence, if there is any, is in that vault.
I guess that means I'm gonna have to teach you boys how to rob a bank.
The safe we want is in Winslow's office.
We're gonna blow it wide open with a whole bunch of dynamite.
Oh, dynamite will come now.
What's the problem?
Well, it's been done. It's loud. It's bulky. This is not just a bank robbery. This is an opportunity to advance the science of bank robberies.
Mr. Legend, I've been working with dynamite for 10 years now.
Yes. I'm sorry, Professor, but in this particular field of endeavor, young Jim is the professor.
Fine. Fine.
Thank you, Mr. Legend. All right, fellas, now listen up. Right back in here is an alley where we can secure the horses and a wagon. Well, the professor and Ramos will be in the office blowing open the safe with dynamite. I'll be on this end right here, watching the townsfolk on the outside through these two windows. Mr. Legend, this here's gonna be you, right here, securing this area and watching the folks inside. Any questions?
Yes. Do I have to be the milkmaid?
Afternoon, good kind citizens. My name is Gentleman Jim Siringo, and this here's a holdup with a special guest appearance by Mr. Nicodemus Legend.
Thank you, Jimmy. It's great to be here. Now, folks, there's nothing to worry about. Nobody's going to get hurt. You all just relax and watch, and you'll all be in my next book. Huh?
All right, get them hands up and let's get started by throwing all them guns to the center of the room. Move!
Yes, sir.
Come on, Roscoe, let's have it. Thank you.
What the hell's this?
That's the $10,000 I stole from this here bank.
You broke into this bank to give the money back?
I don't want no money stolen from honest people.
What do you mean by that?
It means, Mr. Winslow, that we intend to find out if you embezzled $250,000 from the good people of this community. My associates will be here shortly to examine the safe in your office.
Where's the dynamite?
It's here.
What kind of dynamite is that?
It's better than dynamite. It's the Bartok smokeless nitroglycerin gelatin. More efficient, easier to detonate. The future of explosives.
It's all right, folks. I perform this demonstration at county fairs all the time. He'll be all right. And most of his hair will grow back.
That's gonna draw a lot of unwanted attention. All right. It's gonna be a hell of a lot harder to get out of here than it was to get in. We got company.
Professor?
There. The truth shall set us free.
Come on, Winslow.
Let's go.
You better hope we find what we're looking for in that safe.
What do you think, Mr. Winslow? Any chance we'll find another set of books in there?
Here we go.
It's certainly smokeless. Quiet, too.
Damn it, Bartok! Can you open that safe or not?
Of course I can open it. It's obvious the charge in the igniters was insufficient for some reason. It's probably the wires.
You know you're in there, Jim. Walk on out now while you still can.
Professor! Compensating.
30 seconds, Jim.
Bartok! Let's go.
We're all going to get killed. Can't you see that? Give this up now. And I promise all the charges are dropped.
Yeah, well, how you gonna get them to drop a murder charge, Mr. Winslow?
I'll tell them that Barnes was the one who shot Phillips.
He's willing to give up his partner.
Now I really want to see what's in that safe.
Me too.
I'm not willing to let this become a standoff. You tell the boys if they get a clear shot at Jim, take it.
Look out!
So much for advancing the science of bank robbery. Good job.
Well, the trial is set for Tuesday. The marshal doesn't think that you will have to testify as he has all the evidence he needs.
And the federal attorney said he's dropping all the charges against you. Evidently, Barnes and Winslow were the big fish in all this, and you were just... well, you helped catch them.
Oh, and there's something from the bank officers that we have to show you.
Go ahead. It's a reward, Jimmy.
The bank just giving money to me? Doesn't seem like I earned it.
And there is a letter from the president of the bank apologizing for any harm that might have been done to your name.
I mentioned in passing they might be facing an interesting libel suit on your behalf. A name like yours, well, we know how important it is to protect that, don't we?
Very nice to have met you, sir.
Nice to meet you too, sir.
On our way.
Thank you, Mr. Legend.
Adios, James.
Thank you too, Mrs. Yancey. You take care now.
Admit it, Ernest. This will make a perfect legend.
Has more admiration for Robert E. Lee than I do. Why, just last week, my publisher and I were discussing Lee's brilliant leadership in our sad, recent national conflict.
Do it. I got him.
All right, boys.
Let's not be doing anything we'll regret later on.
We hear you've been bragging in this here book about being a Yankee cavalry hero in a Michigan Fifth.
When Legend Came Marching Home is a novel, gentlemen, it's fiction. None of the story is true.
Oh, I suppose that the war never happened.
Well, that part's true, of course. What I meant was...
Because all of the boys here wore gray, and they was proud to do so.
Forget it. Yes, well, the historical novel does take certain liberties with the blending of fact and fiction.
It's Yankee double talking, ain't it?
Come on, let's get it over and done with.
Let's show how it down here. You know, it just makes me sick to see you so full of yourself and your Billy Yank blues.
Yes, well, it's beginning to make me a little sick, too. But I swear, I've never worn the uniform. That's my head on another man's body.
That's it. No man's gonna insult my intelligence this way. Give me that car.
Let's show how it
All right, boys. You've had your fun.
Abigail, honey, what is it you think you're doing with that gun?
Well, Raleigh, I'm fixing to put some buckshot in your backside. Unless, of course, you'd like to go on home, and I mean now. I'd just as soon put it in your front side.
No, Colonel Deal ain't gonna like
Ma'am, your beauty is exceeded only by your sense of good timing. Why, thank you.
Why, Mr. Legend, are you all right?
It's Pratt, actually, Ernest Pratt, writer of books. Would you let me down? The blood's running into my eyes.
Oh, why, yes, how absolutely horrible of me. Well, you must thank a Texan hospitality, sir.
Well, the wounds of the nation heal slowly. I wish my publicist had considered that before he scheduled this Southern book tour.
I think that I have just lost all of my manners. Well, I'm Abigail Steele. I've read all of your stories, and I have so been looking forward to meeting you.
Well, I'd love to sign a book for you, but as you can see, I am upside down.
You know, I've always thought that my life would make a most compelling book, but
Really?
I fear that a tragic turn of events is forthcoming.
Yes? How's that?
Well, it's my father, Mr. Legend. He's a great man, and I love him dearly, but he's never recovered from his wartime experiences, and, well, I fear what his bitterness may drive him to do.
Miss, I'd love to talk to you about this, but
Did
as
you
you can
know that
see,
President Grant is on a speaking tour that takes him right through Texas?
well, we must have the same publicist.
I think that my daddy plans to do him harm.
What?
Well, maybe you could talk to my father, Mr. Legend, and make him see that he could wind up hurt or maybe even dead.
Ma'am, I'd love to talk to you. I don't know how I could help you. Could you please let me
You know, I really do believe that it is all my mama's fault, really. We were living outside Atlanta when Sherman's army came through and, oh, the hellish vision of that awful time, sir. But I still have an unreasonable fear of fire. Anyway, Mama caught the eye of a dashing Yankee major by the name of John McCullough. And of course, we had no idea that Daddy was still alive at this time in a Yankee prison camp. He'd been caught in that horrible massacre at Hampton Falls. Much tried to say I could tell
Minutes later, my ears began to bleed on her pantalettes. That seemed to get her attention. She finally untied me. And I canceled my swing through Alabama and Mississippi. Doesn't take me long to gauge the mood of my audience, no sir.
I want you to increase the rate of the secondary oscillations. But did you talk to him?
Who?
Her father.
Her father was the last person I wanted to talk to. If you believe her, Colonel Steele ate worm-infested horse meat for 8 months in a prison camp while his wife enjoyed conjugal bliss with a Union major, huh?
Janos, the maximum electrical pressure is falling below the elevated terminal capacity.
That's intriguing.
What are you working on?
No. What she said to you, you know, I think it might make for a good book.
Oh, please. Nobody wants to read a melodrama about an aristocratic Southern woman who barely survives the burning of Atlanta. Come on.
All right. So, what are you going to tell the president?
Excuse me?
Well, you can't very well let him be assassinated, can you?
Professor, the woman has a very severe dementia.
I would not want the death of a president on my conscience. Move. Bravo!
The heck is that?
Ball lightning.
Actually, Aristotle called them fireballs.
Thought of by many renowned men of science to be an optical illusion.
Darn good one, if you ask me.
Yeah, I thought it was an optical illusion myself until I saw one appear accidentally by the tower. I determined that it was a resonance of the electromagnetic field. And what you are seeing for the very first time in the history of man is ball lightning created artificially.
What can you do with it?
I have no idea. Could change the course of human events. Possibly not. Right now, it's delightfully useless, and we shall follow this useless research wherever it may take us.
That's the spirit.
I want you to mark the time and via the Herald. Oh, Mr. Pratt will be going with you. He's sending a wire to the President of the United States.
Why, Mr. Legend, I thought your famous code of honor didn't permit the wagering of money on games of chance.
Well, the boys and I have a little understanding that allows me to dabble in a game of chance now and again. For medicinal purposes, of course.
Oh, medicinal.
Oh, yes, yes. Even Legend has to find a way to release the tensions in this hard life.
You poor dear.
To be frank, I've often turned to the kindness of a discreet woman now and again.
I have never been discreet, but I can keep a secret.
Close enough. Just where do you...
The Silver King, room 5.
Room 7 for me. Convenient.
Nicodemus Legend.
Occasionally.
Detective Rubin, Detective Lynch, Federal Marshal's Denver office.
Yeah, you boys move fast. I just sent that wire to the president yesterday. May I introduce Miss Henrietta?
Just Henrietta.
Henrietta. We were just on our way to...
I can wait.
No, I don't... Maybe it can. Henrietta, I'll try not to be long. Gentlemen? I'm sorry, boys, but I'm afraid this is going to be a wasted trip for you.
Well, it can make us happier, sir.
Tell us why you sent a wire to the president.
Well, after what happened to Mr. Lincoln...
So you believe the president's life to be in danger?
To be honest with you, I really didn't take the girl too seriously. Miss Steele was listing a bit off-center, if you know what I mean.
Steele. You're sure that was the name?
Abigail Steele, yes. Why? Is that important?
It may be.
Did she give you any details of this alleged plot against the president?
No. Just the sad and endless story of her father's experience in the Civil War. I don't suppose you fellas could do without those details, could you?
We're aware of Colonel Steele's war record.
Actually, in some Confederate circles, he's considered a hero.
How nice. Well, you boys seem to know everything I know and more. Gentlemen, I don't know if Colonel Steele is a threat to the president or not, but his daughter did help me out of a precarious position down in Texas. I'd like to keep her kind of out of this, maybe hide it.
If it weren't for her, we wouldn't be here now.
That's great.
Thank you for your help, Mr. Legend.
It's Pratt, actually. Ernest Pratt. Legend is a nom de plume. Pseudonym, if you will. I guess I didn't make that clear in my wire.
Of course. Well, we may have other questions. Can we contact you here, Mr. Legend?
Here or one of the other rooms on this floor? Listen, before you go, let me sign one of my books for the president. I think he'd like it.
That won't be necessary.
Fine.
Good evening.
Henrietta.
Why, Mr. Legend, I've been riding all day and night.
Obviously doing a little climbing as well.
Oh, well, I just shimmied up that there drain pipe. Daddy always did call me Monkey when I was growing up because of my ability to climb up almost anything. Well, well, well. Is this your very own room where you, do all of the writing?
Abigail, what are you doing here?
Oh, right, those two men.
From the government.
Oh, no, no, they're not from the government. They're from my father.
Excuse me?
Well, they came to find out how much you know. I'm afraid they are trying to decide whether or not they should kill you. You see, Daddy wasn't exactly happy when I told him that I'd asked Nicodemus Legend for help.
Abigail, maybe we shouldn't tell Daddy so much. What do you think?
All right.
Fine. The sheriff. Let's get to the sheriff.
Found someone else to help you release all that tension, have you?
No, I'm still quite tense. Very tense.
Release tension.
Yes. Henrietta is a master of the yaku, an ancient form of oriental massage used to relieve tension by manipulating nerve endings in the feet.
Mr. Legend.
Daddy. Don't you let them hurt him.
It's a simple request, sir.
He's not armed. My name is Ethan Catledge Steele. We have a lot to talk about.
One whiskey? And your usual, Mr. Legend.
Bless you, Grady.
I envy your restraint. At times like these, I've come to depend on the comfort of Kentucky bourbon.
An understandable crutch, sir, considering what you've been through.
Look at me. A man who has chased halfway across the country after his little girl. A daughter who believes that her father is capable of murder. Of a president, no less.
Well, she's worried about you.
I love her very much, but she has spells. Anyone in Nolan County can tell you. Mr. Legend, I understand why you had to inform the federal authorities, and I have nothing to hide. I simply don't want her to face a public humiliation. She said you might be writing something about this?
No. She misunderstood.
That's not unusual. It is time to put an end to this sad episode of American history. I only wish there were more like us, instead of those who would prolong it with the brutality and vengeance they like to call Reconstruction. I'm sorry for the distress my family and I might have caused you. If you ever come out our way again, I hope you'll let us make it up to you.
To be honest, sir, I hadn't really considered going back anytime soon.
Well, if you change your mind, I will personally see to it that you get a much different kind of reception.
It's getting chilly out, Grady. Another spot of chamomile might make the journey home a bit more comfortable. It takes an understanding woman to understand the call of duty.
Oh, it must be very difficult to be a hero.
Oh, yes. You have no idea. One never knows when one's next adventure might begin. However, with luck, our next adventure will begin in room 5 at the Silver King.
Ernest Pratt, alias Nicodemus Legend.
Sorry, I have an adventure to attend to.
I have Potter, United States Secret Service. President Grant wants to see you. Amazing. We're a day ahead of schedule. I'm afraid my lack of experience in flight disagrees with my stomach.
Ramos, You might want to steer around that farm village there.
Coming about, heading 165.
Does the War Department know of your work with balloon propulsion, Professor?
The War Department sees no future in air power, and frankly, I see no future in the War Department.
I have some very important friends in Washington, Professor. Friends who could play an important role in your future. For a proper consideration, I might be able to get them very interested in your work.
That would be an improper consideration, wouldn't it?
I'm merely suggesting that I might serve as his liaison in Washington.
And work for the government at the same time. I'm missing something.
Forgive the confusion of a foreign national, but I simply don't understand why a citizen of these United States would want to pay a fee to get the attention of his government.
Well, there are just so many citizens, aren't there? One must set priorities. You can't listen to every idiot in the country.
No, just wealthy idiots, Janos.
But it would seem to me that defensive capability would be a top priority. Why, consider, if you will, that the entire military concept of taking the high ground becomes moot with air power. Why, let the enemy take the high ground. Right? You simply go higher. Then you drop your projectile direct. You know, Mr. Potter, you make my point quite well for me. Had that cow been the enemy...
I'm sorry.
No! It's a great shot.
Uh-oh. They're going after your brother Orville again.
Oh, the vultures.
And you had enough?
I need more than enough. Tom!
I brought Ernest Pratt to see you, Mr. President. The writer who sent you the wire?
Oh. Oh, yes, yes, of course. What was his moniker again? Wild Buffalo or something?
Legend. He writes under the name Nicodemus Legend.
Now, you should know some of his books before he comes in. Writers are particularly susceptible to flattery.
Potter?
I believe his latest book was called When Legend Came Marching Home.
Well, all right. All right, send him in.
You know, I cannot believe that Catledge Steele would have anything to do with the plot.
Of course he would. Of course he would. He would kill me in the blink of an eye just to steal you away from me, my dear.
Got soup in your tie again.
No, where?
Ulysses, if you would sit up straight when you eat, this would not happen. Mr. Pratt, so good to meet you at last. Or should I call you Nicodemus Legend?
Mrs. Grant, it would be an honor to hear you call me Ernest.
We are such admirers of your books, Ernest. I particularly liked When Legend Comes Marching Home. What was your favorite again, Ulysses?
Oh, well, the same one.
I'd be happy to sign your book, sir.
I don't think that would be necessary.
Fine.
The president gave away his copy to a crippled youngster in Sioux City. Changed the boy's life. Well, I leave you gentlemen to your serious discussions.
Don't drink. Very nice lady. Really.
Are you a drinking man, Mr. Pratt?
Well, sir, Nicodemus Legend isn't a drinker. However, Ernest Pratt has been known to dabble in the spirits now and again.
Good, because I don't trust a man who doesn't drink, and I need to trust you.
On that score, I'm the most trustworthy man alive.
Please, please. Tell me, did you actually see Steele himself?
Colonel Steele? Yes, sir, I did. He seemed a decent fellow. I'd venture to say you have nothing to worry about.
Catledge Steele may be the most dangerous man in America. I've known him since we were at West Point together before the war. As younger men, we were Well, we were even friendly rivals. We both courted my dear Julia. It's while we were in St. Louis at training camp. As the fates would have it, Mr. Pratt, I won her hand.
He told me none of this, sir.
I'm not surprised. You know, sometimes I think that, well, I think that maybe he's held a personal grudge against me all these years. As an adversary in the war, I can't tell you the problems that he caused me at Vicksburg.
It is our information that Colonel Steele is currently inciting the citizens of Texas to rebellion and vandalizing federal installations.
Yes, and now his own daughter has told us that he is planning the ultimate revenge against me.
He must be stopped, Mr. Pratt.
And you are the man to do it.
Excuse me?
Well, no one else in my service can get as close to him as you can. And clearly you have his daughter's confidence. Mr. Pratt, I want you to go to Texas. And I want you to get solid evidence of this conspiracy.
Mr. President, with all due respect, I think you're confusing me with the hero about whom I write. You see, I'm not Nicodemus Legend. I'm no hero. I'm just a writer. I have no particular talent for this sort of intrigue, I swear.
I see. Well, no matter. Thanks at least for coming. I do appreciate the wire. Mrs. Grant and I wish you a good journey home. Potter, see Mr. Pratt out.
Mr. Pratt, I really think you should reconsider.
Nope. I've got a balloon to catch, thank you.
I assume you're aware of what happened to those who participated in the Lincoln assassination conspiracy.
They were hanged, weren't they?
And now you've been seen consorting with a man who's a known threat to the president.
Consorting? I had tea, he had whiskey. That's consorting?
And if we find evidence of a conspiracy, I assure you, all suspects will be rounded up and questioned, and I will decide whom to prosecute. Am I making myself clear, Mr. Pratt? You're either with us or against us.
Unless the winds have betrayed us, we should be approaching the Steele homestead.
Optics? Ah, yes. There's definitely a compound down there. Would you care to see? Wow. The Bartok thermal emissions detector. You predicted it yourself in your last book. I did?
Blood on the moonlit prairie.
But that was based on science that doesn't exist.
Oh, but it exists now. It was simply a matter of finding detectors that were sensitive to thermal emanations.
Thermal emanations?
The glow you see in there are human beings, or perhaps animals.
Yeah. Well, there's an awful lot emanating down there.
Yes, it does seem to be well guarded for an ex-colonel's retirement home.
Maybe he's not so retired, eh? I can sort of make out a figure on the second floor of the house. You know, if there's some way of magnifying the image, it would really help.
Oh, please, allow me.
Of course. Yes, it's definitely a woman. Probably Abigail.
Get the harpoon ready.
Well, she seems to be... Yes, she's definitely getting undressed. Gentlemen, we're just in time.
Oh, incorrigible.
Thank you.
Come on, quick, quick. There's a storm coming.
If you need assistance, flip this switch.
What is it?
It produces infrared radiation. We'll be able to see it through the night scope.
Fire when ready.
And Ramos, no peeking.
Or Miss Mr. Legend.
I'm sorry. I guess my sense of timing isn't quite as good as yours.
Oh. Well, you embarrass me, sir. At least, I think you do. Mama did always explain to me that a girl should faint in a situation like this, but, I must confess that I feel quite fine.
Are you all right, Abigail? I thought I heard something fall.
Daddy! Daddy, I dropped my bed.
Dropped your bed?
I was just moving some furniture around here and there, redecorating.
Well, you hadn't ought to be doing that heavy kind of lifting. Next time, let me send some of the boys up to help out.
Yes, sir.
Abigail, is he still going after the president?
Yes, he most certainly is. I overheard him talking about a meeting that they're planning in the bunkhouse tonight, and he told me that he's leaving on a business trip for El Paso later.
The president's gonna be in El Paso tomorrow. I have to get in that bunkhouse.
Oh, Mr. Legend, they have an awful lot of guns.
Okay, I don't have to get in the bunkhouse. But I do need Bartok.
There it is. All right, let me down.
Abigail, I'd like you to meet my technical associate, Janos Bartok.
Janos Christoph Bartok, late of the University of Budapest and the Western Union. I feel as if I almost know you. How's your mother?
Not now.
Oh, forgive me.
There's a meeting in the bunkhouse. We've got to hear it.
Oh, yes. Mademoiselle, au revoir. In 5 minutes.
What a gentleman.
Isn't he, though?
Right this way, gentlemen. We'll join the others in the bunkhouse. All right, gentlemen, let's go inside and review the details of my plan. Raleigh, Judson, keep a sharp lookout. Yes, sir.
There he is.
I've aimed the amplifier and the receiver at opposite corners. Now, I want you to take the wires and attach them to the electrodes.
What is it exactly you're trying to do?
Well, you see, the wall of the bunkhouse is an amplifier of sound waves. Not a very good one, mind you. But if we could connect the sound with the Bartok constant frequency receiver, we will, with any art, be able to hear what's going on. Hey! Now what? Put on your cups. The ear cups. Can you hear? Can you hear? You know, the only thing to worry about on a night like this is that the electricity from the storm could...
Pardon me, Ernest. Ernest.
What?
Well, Mr. Legend, I see you've decided to accept my invitation after all.
Daddy, you cannot go through with this.
Abigail, I swear to you, I have no interest in killing anyone. Certainly not Ulysses S. Grant, who I once considered to be a friend.
Well, I don't understand.
I only want him to see with his own eyes what his government has done to the South.
And just how do you intend to make him see that, sir?
My men and I are going to take him on a little tour.
The abduction of the President of the United States is not a small matter, sir.
If they would hang me for this, it is a sacrifice any soldier would willingly make.
There are other necks to consider here, you know.
Grant has had 8 years to bring this country together. And what has he done? He has handed it over to the robber barons and the crooks and the scallywag politicians. I can forgive him for anything and everything that happened during the war. But I cannot forgive him for what he has done or hasn't done as president. Lynch, Reuben, stay with them. Tomorrow noon you can let them go. They won't be able to do us any harm by then.
Daddy, no, please do not go. I just know you will not come back. I feel it.
Whatever happens, you just remember, your daddy loves you, monkey.
Might as well make yourselves comfortable. You're gonna be here a while.
Excuse me.
Let's go.
Well, I'm coming with you.
No, you're not. Abigail, you've read my books. You know the girl never goes to the final shootout.
Well, if my daddy sees me there, maybe there won't be a shootout.
Good rewrite. Let's go.
The train is less than 25 miles from El Paso.
That means that her father must be 13 kilometers down the track.
Well, how can we warn them?
Ernest?
This is the part where Nicodemus Legend performs some daredevil stunt and lands on the train. Am I right?
Can you give me a parallel position?
It's traveling too rapidly for us.
Oh, give me 10 years of research and you wouldn't be able to say that. All right, we'll use the Legend wings.
Oh, sure, sure. When all else fails, just break out the old Legend wings and push them out of the balloon.
Oh, this is all so exciting.
You see another satisfied customer. Open! 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 Oh! Yes! Yes!
Arranged for additional security with the governor, and he's placing troops.
Mr. President, you've got to stop this train.
How did you?
Don't ask. Mr. Pratt. Colonel Steele plans to abduct you before you reach El Paso.
Abduct me? For
ransom. I don't think anyone in Washington will pay.
I don't think he plans to hurt you, sir.
Mr. President, this is a matter of the utmost national security. I intend to tell my men to shoot to kill.
Shoot to kill? Catledge Steele once polished my boots for me before an inspection because I was suffering from a hangover.
Ulysses, what on earth is going on? Mr. Pratt.
It's Ernest.
It appears, my dear, that Catledge intends to abduct me, and Potter here wants to kill him.
Kill Cat? Well, how could you, for a moment, even consider such...
Mrs. Grant, with all due respect, there's no room for compromise where the president's safety is concerned.
May I offer an alternative?
No.
I insist. Come on, Potter. Let's have it. Give me. Thank you. I'm sorry about this. This is very unlike me, but I must insist. So, if you will all step outside and prepare for transport to the balloon. Come on.
What an honor, sir. Janos Christoph Bartok. May I offer my congratulations?
The war was over a very long time ago.
Oh, well, I don't care about the war, sir. You are about to become the first president to fly.
Mr. President, the train, it's moving again.
Ramos, keep us a discreet distance behind. We don't want Colonel Steele to know that we're coming. All right, we're going around now. Hold on.
Good morning, Mr. President. I'm afraid you're going to miss your speaking engagement in El Paso.
Hello, Daddy.
Abigail.
You're a mite late for the party, Colonel.
What are you doing here?
We are trying to stop you from making a horrible mistake.
What's next?
You wanted to see the president?
Everything's all right.
All right, let's descend.
Hello, Catledge.
Julia, your loveliness hasn't faded with the years.
Sir, you will remove your lips from my wife's hand.
I believe the lady offered her hand.
The lady would never offer her hand to a man without honor.
And yet she offered a hand in marriage to you, did she not?
Damn you, Steele. I will gladly settle this once and for all, here and now, at 40 paces with you.
I would prefer sabers.
Excuse me. We did not bring you two fine gentlemen together to refight the Civil War. Thank you.
Well, Mr. Pratt is right.
Who's Pratt?
That's me. Most of the time.
Just look at the two of you.
Acting like a couple of overgrown, foolish schoolboys.
Well, thanks to the intervention of these gentlemen, a terrible mistake has been averted. One that would haunt you both for the rest of your lives. Now, isn't it time to find a better way to settle your problems?
Mr. President, Colonel Steele has invited you to tour this region. Perhaps your good Mr. Potter could rearrange your schedule to accommodate that invitation. What do you think?
Well,
Potter, see to it.
Mr. President, just do as she says, Potter.
On your way, son. On your way.
I learned a long time ago, Catledge, to take my wife's point of view very seriously.
That is one thing we could always agree on.
Well, maybe if we can let the country see two old adversaries come together and confront these issues, then maybe we can inspire some forgiveness in others as well.
You cannot know how much that would please me, Mr. President.
Well, Mr. Pratt, you told me not long ago that you had no talent for intrigue. I believe that you were incorrect. We could use a man like you in Washington.
There might be something there, Ernest.
Mr. Legend goes to Washington.
No, I don't think so. I'll leave Washington to the professionals, like your good man Potter on yon horizon. Hello?
Yes, well, that'll be the ruin of Washington. Too many professionals.
Kidnapping the president. Brilliant. You see, Legend's voice is right there inside you.
The only voice I hear says, I want a drink.
No, it must be the other fellow, Pratt, talking. Ignore him.
I can't. He's thirsty.
Mr. Legend, good evening.
Mr. Mayor?
I must say, the entire town is once again in your debt.
It is?
Oh, yes, very much so. Very exciting. In fact, we're bringing in an operatic tenor from Denver for the occasion. Italian fella.
Am I missing something here?
The Custers. General George Armstrong Custer and his lovely wife Elizabeth, right here in Sheridan tomorrow. I would expect you'd like to say a few words after I'm through with the official greeting.
Chamberlain, General Custer is not coming to Sheridan. Even if he were, I don't think he'd want a lot of hoopla.
But it was in the paper.
General Custer is going to visit Fort Hanson, unofficially. I'm meeting with his lovely wife, Libby, unofficially. She's an old friend. Sorry to disappoint, Mayor.
The town council has ordered a plaque. It was a unanimous vote, even Hiram Bigelow by proxy, and he passed away last year during Lent.
You have a dead man on the city council?
It's more of an honorary thing. Mr. Legend, it would be such a shame if the Custers did not come to town. The ladies of the War Widows League have created an interpretive dance especially for the occasion.
Oh.
Sorry, Mayor, no. It's based on the Battle of Gettysburg. No. The cavalry fight. Custer was there, you know.
I don't care. Interpretive dance. It's worse than ballet.
Why can't people understand a man needs his privacy? That he wants to be alone. Of course, that gets kind of lonely once in a while.
Good evening, Ernest.
Good night, Alex.
What should I do here? What should I do? What should I do? Should I pull the trigger and blow his celebrated thoughts all over the carpet? Or should I wait and do it later when he's least expecting it? Maybe make him cower in front of his admiring audience.
I say we wait.
Yes. Well. When I knew you, you were just plain old Ernest Pratt. But now, you're the great, whoa, Nicodemus Legend.
Oh, we've met before. It's funny, I usually wouldn't forget a breath like that.
No, we haven't actually met. But I know you, and you know me.
Oh, a riddle. Is this some new parlor game, or...?
The game I've come to play with you, Mr. Pratt, is a game of humiliation. I will humiliate you just as you humiliated me.
So you humiliated him.
That's the word he used.
Well, try and think of all the people in the past that you've humiliated, unless it's too large a pool of candidates.
Well, there was Coach Fesmer.
Coach Fesmer?
My football coach at Rutgers College. Final game senior year. Scored a touchdown in the last minute of play.
Why would that upset you?
Scored for Princeton. Ran the wrong way.
Oh, well, I'm sure he wouldn't have come to Colorado just for revenge.
I don't know. Last time I saw him, he was not a happy man. I was looking over my shoulder at the time.
Well, perhaps your intruder was an angry husband.
Ramos, Ernest Pratt has a moral code all his own. It's about as wide as the Mississippi compared to legends. But if I know a woman is married...
What if you don't know?
Well, that falls on my side of the river, don't you think?
Come. Handle the door. Come. We mustn't leave General Custer and his wife waiting.
He said we know each other, but we've never met. If I didn't know a woman was married, I certainly wouldn't know the husband, would I?
Well, that certainly rules out Coach Fesmer.
Oh, he will come for me one day. I know it. He will come.
I think you'll like Ernest.
Yeah, you say that about all your ex-beaux.
He is not an ex-beau.
You say that about all your ex-beaux.
He is a friend of the family. I think that he could help us with our cause if he wrote about your trip to Washington. His publisher is a very important Democrat.
I'm a very important Democrat. I am, soon to be even more important.
Yeah.
You make a lovely first lady, Libby.
I wish that I could see as bright a future as you do, Audie.
The scoundrels in the War Department got you afraid, do they?
It's just we're fighting on a very different battlefield this time.
But the key is to make the enemy fight your fight, and the field of battle doesn't change that. You'll see.
When Congress learns that our War Department is endangering the lives of its own troops, then... Whoa, whoa, whoa!
Yes!
I didn't expect to see you until we got to the fort.
Well, modern transportation, you know. Oh, Libby, the last time I saw you, well,
Ernest,
you look beautiful.
I'm not sure about this.
It works with the genre.
George Custer.
Janos Christoph Bartok. I've been looking forward to meeting you so that I might illuminate the military applications of the Bartok steam-powered land locomotive.
Professor?
Audie, this is Ernest Pratt, the one I've been telling you about.
I understand you're a writer of some repute. Libby says you were a reporter.
That was some time ago, yes.
And now you're writing dime novels.
And you're killing Indians.
Steam-powered, Professor? Like the railroad?
Yes. Allow me to show you. Limelight for traveling at night. Chain drive steering, fore and aft communications. Pneumatic tires, kerosene burner, and some security devices that my associate Vitsli Lopochli Ramos and I have been working on.
An Indian associate?
Yes, General. A Mexican national.
Ah, then we are not at war with you, sir.
For the present.
Right here. All right, at ease.
Company, attention!
General Custer, welcome to Fort Hanson. At ease, Sergeant Major. Good to see you, Miles.
General Endicott Whipple of the U.S. War Department. I believe you know Captain Bragg.
I didn't expect anyone from Washington to greet me, sir.
News of your personal tour of the western forts reached the administration several days ago. Ah, the famous author, Ernest Pratt. I enjoy the legend books, sir. I read in the Post newspaper about your reunion with Mrs. Custer. May I inquire, is that the sole purpose of your visits?
Well, I haven't come to enlist, if that's what you mean.
What he means is he's worried you're going to write about my investigation into the treachery of the Post traders, which he is.
I am?
I'm afraid you'll find that a dull subject.
Well, I don't agree.
Seems quite interesting at the moment.
Will the General and his wife join me in the captain's quarters for dinner?
I have other plans, Whipple. I'm afraid Sergeant Major McKinney has already invited us to dine with him in the non-commissioned officers' mess.
Good day.
Sergeant Major, you may dismiss the troops.
Company, dismissed.
Would you mind telling me what you just dragged me into?
Oh, it's nothing for you to worry about.
I would like Ernest and his friends to join us for supper. I think they should see the problem themselves.
Ma'am, I'm sorry to say the problem might not be so obvious at supper.
This is some of the best corn-fed beef I've had since we left Michigan.
Our rations suddenly got a lot better. Usually it's tinted sawdust for coffee and tea, chalked flour, watered vinegar and oil, and half-rotten, maggot-ridden horse meat for beef. This is the War Department show for company.
We should visit more often.
Well, I don't understand. Are these not the officers' rations?
No, these are our rations, all right. They're usually sold by the post traders for profit.
With the blessings of the War Department.
And Mr. Whipple permits this.
Permits it. Gets rich from it. The War Department is riddled with corruption. Our troops starve, and the Republicans continue to profit from it.
The General and his guests will indulge me. We have another problem. Perhaps more serious?
Useless. Shell casings are cheap copper.
May I?
After only a few rounds, the chamber heats up, melts the casing, jams the weapon.
Except as a club, this rifle's useless.
There should be a brass casing. The War Department should know better.
They know, they don't care. They're sending our soldiers in to fight an enemy that's better armed and in some cases better mounted. Not exactly an ideal way to boost morale and recruitment.
Yes, I understand.
And I imagine this is only your loudest piece of evidence.
Well, they have the voice of George Armstrong Custer. What could be louder than that?
General, that committee is going to want hard evidence, and except for cheap ammo, you don't seem to have any.
Now. Is this the journalist or the dime novelist consulting me in this matter?
Take your pick.
Well, I've been advised and consulted my entire career, but I do believe it's the first time an imaginary character's ever told me what to do. You wouldn't be starting to believe your own fiction now, would you, Mr. Pratt?
No more than you'd be believing yours if you went to Washington armed with hearsay and your wonderful charisma.
What you mean to say is ego, perhaps, is it?
An editorial choice, General.
Ernest, take me for a walk.
Well, tell me more about your research, Professor.
He's not an easy man to like, Libby.
I know. Can you understand that he might be an easier man to love? He writes me every day. These long, wonderful love letters. No matter where he is, even if it's the night before a battle. It's more than that. You know, he's larger than life. He truly believes he's invulnerable, you know?
That kind of belief can get you into some serious trouble.
It's never failed him. Sometimes I think it's that belief in himself that leads him to victory every time.
Rampaging Comanches in the Badlands is one thing, but Republicans? In my reporter days, I saw enough Washington politics to last a lifetime.
It's a noble cause, Ernest. These men are risking their careers because they believe in Audie.
They won't just take his word, Lib, no matter how many medals he shines at them.
Well, that's the real reason that I asked you to meet us.
So this isn't just a reunion.
I know it's awful to exploit an old friendship, but if there's any of the reporter spirit left in your soul...
Well, the soul of Ernest Pratt is in some question these days. But maybe Nicodemus Legend can find a way to help.
I'd be forever grateful. I really fear for him this time. Thank you.
Nicodemus Legend doesn't smoke. Do you know why you're still alive, Mr. Pratt?
Clean living?
You're still alive because I didn't want to get blood on Mrs. Custer's dress.
Very thoughtful.
Oh, and you once called me brainless.
But never to your face, since we've never met.
No. You still don't know who I am, do you? Obviously. I didn't mean as much to you as you did to me.
Well, if it's any consolation, you mean a lot to me right now.
Now, come on, Mr. Pratt, come on. Put the pieces together. Someone from your past, someone with cold revenge on his mind. And somehow it's all connected with General George Armstrong Custer.
Custer? What part does he play in this?
The lead. But don't you worry. Your audience will be sure to remember what happens to you as well.
So it would seem as if your mystery visitor has become concerned with General Custer as well as with you.
That's what he said.
Well, certainly the General has no shortage of enemies in this world.
Well, blowing the whistle on the War Department is not designed to make friends.
You know, Ernest, I was thinking that maybe the villain is someone you have humiliated or called brainless in one of your books. Jesse James, for instance.
No. My Kansas distributor told me that Jesse bought 100 copies of Legend and the Guns of Brothers.
Really?
Passed them out to all his friends. Outlaws love to see their name in print, you know.
Here he comes. "9 o'clock, on the dot, just as McKinney said. Let us not let this moment pass without fully appreciating what it represents in the annals of science."
We're stealing evidence for Custer.
No. We are intercepting a private wire communication. This has never been done before.
Yes, well, the minute the government knows you're doing it, they'll make it illegal. You know that.
Marvelous, isn't it?
What is it?
Evidence, General. The kind of hard evidence you're going to need to make your case in Washington.
A complete record of the sale of army goods to a civilian firm in Kansas.
How did you get it?
Sergeant McKinney told us of a War Department agent by the name of Endicott Whipple and how he went to the trading post every night at 9. It was easy to assume that he was making arrangements for the disposition on a daily basis of fresh fruits and vegetables and meats that could spoil.
We can transcribe the entire conversation for you back at our compound.
Then you can take a coach to Denver and plenty of time to catch your train.
And combined with your testimony, this should cinch it. Right now I'm working on an electric coach, which I believe will be far more efficient if I could only get the batteries down to size.
Well, what size are they now?
They're bigger than the entire carriage itself, but I'm working on it. This is not natural. Everybody, put your masks on. Put the Bartok Air Conservancy masks on. Remo, gas! Congratulations! When inhaled, it is fast-acting, noxious, slightly irritating to the mucous membranes, but not dangerous.
What do you call it?
Bartok's weeping gas.
I wasn't aware there were any hostiles in the area.
Well, there weren't. Maybe they converted.
All Indians are hostile, gentlemen. Present company excluded, of course. Ramos? Obviously, the local tribe heard that the West's greatest Indian fighter is in town and felt obliged to take advantage of the occasion.
This appears to be a Cheyenne arrow. Wouldn't you agree, General?
Quite right, Ramos.
At last report, the nearest Cheyenne raiding parties were in Dakota territory, hundreds of miles north.
They've come a long way to get you.
They always do.
General, I will concede that you are a highly qualified potential victim, but I think something else is happening here. Janos, show our friends some of that famous Hungarian hospitality while I conduct a little raid of my own.
That concludes this segment of our program. Our next show will commence in 1 hour and will feature a precision bow and arrow demonstration and a medley of genuine Cherokee harvest songs.
Ah, Standing Beaver.
The great Nicodemus legend. Profitable author and adventurer.
Good to see you again, Dancing Wolf. I need some information.
Certainly. Let us smoke on it.
As you may know, General Custer is in the area.
What kind of an Indian would I be if I didn't know that? I understand he was attacked on the way back from the fort.
What else do you know?
I know my receipts are down 25% from last year.
Here we go.
When I came to you in the spring and asked to be included only in a modest way among the attractions you were offering to tourists, would you see me? No. In the fall, when I suggested that an Arikara hunting dance might add some color and authenticity to your lecture in Denver, would you have anything to do with me? No. You ignored the Indian and his needs, thinking only of your own pockets.
Beaver, I don't control the legend business. My publisher does. My face, his profits. That's the way it is. What do you want?
4 shows a week in front of the Legend Souvenir headquarters in town.
Not my store.
You are not without influence. All right. 3 shows a week and I'll throw in an Apache fire dance with authentic masks.
Authentic?
Of course. You do not think I would demean the great traditions of our native peoples. All right. What can I do for you?
The Indians who attacked us, who were they? What'd they want?
General Custer does not lack enemies among my people, but it would not be wise to attack him within the crow's view of an army fort.
You're saying they weren't Indians?
A strange white man, as recently as 1 week ago, was seeking a dozen Indian ponies from the Arapaho.
Anybody get a name on him?
No. The one who told me called him Eagle with Golden Eye.
Golden Eye?
Mm-hmm.
Golden Eye. You know, I wrote an article some time back about a fellow who worked at the War Department. Had a bad light. Wonder. Well, thanks for everything, Standing Beaver. Gotta go.
Don't forget, 3 shows.
Free. Authentic. I'm sure it had to be on that page. That man was in my room.
You know, perhaps they just fell out.
No. My mother assembled this book. Nothing would just fall out, trust me. Now, if I'm right, it was a funny article about a small-time rogue. Worked for the War Department, I believe.
Funny? This man doesn't sound funny.
Yes. Well, he was caught in a bungled burglary of a senator's office. But the break-in was so ineptly executed that I wrote the whole thing for humor. Sometime later, he lost an eye in a barroom brawl. Wore a patch in those days. Evidently, he's garnered a taste for gold.
So you did humiliate him, just as he said.
Well, I can't remember everything I wrote about him.
And you can't remember his name?
That's why people keep scrapbooks, to remind them of details that fade with the time.
These articles are all around 1869.
Boo. Bad year for me. February, March, I don't recall at all. I was working for the Examiner at the time, living at the Alhambra with a cultivated woman from Baltimore, name of Elvira. She was Romanian, or so she said. She had a little tattoo on the inside of her right. Of course, that's another story altogether.
Apparently not all details fade with time.
Yes, well, some details are a bit more distinct than others.
Aha! Just as I suspected. The article has been pressing against the opposite page for many years now. And with a little examination and a little hocus pocus, I was able to produce this.
Flint Ridge Cane, Mr. Whipple. Flint Ridge Cane.
The name means nothing to me.
He was employed by you at the War Department some time back, and believe me, he's not an easy man to forget.
That was almost 10 years ago. He could be dead or in prison. I have no idea where he might be today.
I do. He's here, and he's a threat to General Custer.
Are you suggesting that the War Department is somehow responsible for the Indian attack on General Custer?
Yes.
I categorically deny that charge.
Oh, save it. I can tie Kane to the attack, and I'm sure without much trouble, you to him.
I assure you, you're mistaken.
Good. I hope I am. Because if anything happens to Custer or his wife on the way to Washington, a train wreck, fall from a horse, a severe head cold,
anything at all. And I'll be back.
I told you to leave him out of this.
It was too good an opportunity to waste. Killing Custer for you, while I get the satisfaction of watching the famed Nicodemus Legend look on helplessly in disgrace.
Well, you can forget about them both now. You're finished. Terminated. Do you understand?
Oh, I love a challenge, Mr. Whipple. From this point forward, this will be personal.
Mr. Kane, there is a time to cut your losses.
Really think so? Maybe you're right. Since you're the only one in the War Department who knows what I've been doing, perhaps you're the loss that I should cut.
Thank you. Good job. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, you have yourself a lovely town here.
Thank you, General. If you and Mrs. Custer are contemplating retirement, I'd like to show you our new Riverview Deluxe home site.
Thank you. You should get Legend a theme song, my boy. Works well for me. Ladies and gentlemen, I begin my long journey east, armed with the knowledge that our cause is just and the evidence does not lie. I promise you that I will win this battle for the men of the United States Army and make the Republicans run for cover.
Sounds like a man running for office to me.
But let me take a moment to thank all of my associates who made it possible to gather this evidence. Professor Bartok, whose brilliant research I plan to champion with the military. And gifted Indian associate Ramos. And of course your own Nicodemus Legend, who has proven himself a true hero to me.
That's his way of saying thank you.
Oh.
This is mine.
We'll be overhead to keep an eye on you until you get to Denver.
Everything is clear as far as the eyeglasses can see.
He could, too, you know.
Could what?
Become president.
Oh, no, I don't think so.
Is that your professional clairvoyant opinion, Professor?
Well, he's a Democrat, you know. You don't have to be a clairvoyant to know that the Democrats don't have a chance in Hades to win the election this year. Oh, look! They're waving. Here, take a look.
It's who?
He's there, driving the coach. The Patch, I saw his Patch. Get this thing down.
Well, it's...
Get down!
There's no time. There's no time to get it down. Make it go backwards.
Is there a problem?
Apparently there is.
All right. Don't try to be perfect. Right. And don't try to get into the driver's seat. But if you get close to the roof...
Professor, I've done this before. Remember me?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Oh, no, not the horse. Give me some slack. Right for the rudder.
Goodbye, Mr. Pratt.
Got him!
Tell Mr. Pratt I'll see him again.
No sign of him, General. We searched the entire area.
But then the body must be in a ravine or crevice. No one could survive such a fall.
My orders are to accompany the General the rest of the way to Denver.
Well, looks like the War Department wants you to feel safe.
You know, I could use one of those Bartok inflatables on my campaign against the Sioux and Cheyenne this summer. You boys wouldn't want to come along with me now, would you?
Oh, no, thank you very much. Nice invitation.
Are you sure?
Thank you. It was very kind of you. But...
It'll be a magnificent victory. It'll make a good book, Ernest.
Indian Wars, the entire Sioux Nation. I just get in the way.
After this battle, I'm sure your name will live throughout history. I'm clairvoyant, you know.
Well, I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah.
Were you just being polite, or do you really think that?
Oh, no, I do. I really do.
Lucky fella, that Custer. Some people always seem to be in the right place at the right time. You know?
Well, shall we?